Hello everyone, this is Talkaoke. Who do we have around the table? Just let's do a little refresh.
Eight.
Pascal.
Joanna. Okay.
Charles.
Sophie. Mikey.
Margot. All right, so what do you lovely people would like to... Oh yes, of course, sorry. The people in the TV, of course. So we have Lek. We have Suzanne. We have Sylvia. We have Drage. Yeah. We have Louise.
Drage from the...
Yeah. We have Aster. We have Sabine. We have Ben. We have Hannah. We have Alex. We have Imogen. And we have Elam. Is that... yeah, okay, lovely. Okay, so Lek, I can see that you raised your hand. What would you like to talk about?
Actually, I had a question towards you specifically, but we can transform it into an open question, really. Since I'm into creative writing myself, and you mentioned that you do, you hosted some workshops for children. I believe 12 to 15-year-olds with creative writing, or whether younger. You can, well, it doesn't matter really. They were children, right? So my question was, how do you balance showing them the nuts and bolts of the craft? What is the craft? Because it's about learning. And the second part, which is actually, since they are children, encouraging them to show their, inner selves via some artistic expression. Like using word in general, encouraging to generally speak up at all, via art, via writing.
Okay. Great question, thank you, Lek. So, if I can maybe rephrase that in a bit more of a shorter form, just to make it a bit more, exactly. So basically, when you are, whether you're teaching, I don't know, drawing, creative writing, or whatever you're teaching, if you teach, of course, how would you make it at the same time fun, accessible, but also creative and maybe a bit more demanding for the children? Yes, Mike.
My thing is, I think it's better if you're not too good at it. That's why when I went in the middle of doing Talkaoke, I didn't try to do too good a job, because I think one of the problems is when you see someone that's really, really expert at doing something, it's almost unapproachable. Like, normally, I like to go to karaoke, but I'm a terrible singer. But I've noticed whenever I go on, suddenly there's a whole rush of people that go, I can do better than that. So it's actually better to be bad at something to teach it rather than be good at it.
That's a very good point, actually. So basically, yes, Aster, of course. Yeah. You're muted, Aster, yeah.
Yeah, now it should work. I really felt what you said about making errors. I feel it's the same with, for example, leading this table. Just showing that you can make errors, definitely for kids, is such a beautiful way to let them express themselves. I've been a skate and a surf teacher for 10 years. And the thing I did was I showed, for example, how to take a wave. They did it trial and error, and I just let them come to me when they had a question. But the thing I did the most was just showing I had fun and being myself, and then everything from there evolved.
I'm going to be bold, and I'm going to link it slightly to the theme of closing, but I'm going to try to open it up. So basically, let's see. Okay, so. Okay, right. So when you are creative, for example, with how you present yourself, whether it is through closing, whether it's through how you introduce yourself, do you think that it is better to show that you are making mistakes? So, for example, it could be like an unfastened bell buckle, or do you prefer to show who you are in your best possible version? Yes, Kozru.
What you just said is interesting. Yes, I would like to do mistakes. Even if I know that I'm good at it, I'll do it impurposely Because you know why I would do that? So if I do that mistake, I would like to see the audience to like point out on my mistake to improve on it. So evaluate myself and monitor myself on it.
Kate, then Liddy.
I was just wondering then, why do we not allow our politicians to make mistakes?
Great question. Very great question. Very, very great question. And very great, like, yeah, absolutely. Yes, so we have Liddy first, and then, could you remind, Jarnell, and then Akbar. And oh, yeah, and well, so many people online, of course, so yeah.
You made such a good point, though. I wanted to say, bouncing back on what you said, is there are some places. I'm all up for making mistakes and publicly because I feel that the world is a better place when you do that. However, it highly depends on the context because there are contexts that will not forgive you for it. Politics is one. Medicine might be one, so it entirely depends on what you're dealing with. I will adapt my personality to, am I allowed to fail here, or will it cost me the judgment of absolutely everybody in this room?
Okay, very interesting point, thank you. Yes.
On the context is I teach and I'm a chemist, so I like to show that it's possible that you make mistakes along the journey, but I do not think it is appropriate for me to make mistakes when teaching students. Right? So you can show that a journey is you learn from failures, but there are some things that you should not fail at, right? There are some things where there is health concerns, or health and safety concerns. And also when you're in a figure of authority and a figure of power, you have to have something to aspire to. I think it's useful if, for example, you're an author, to say that I made mistakes along the way, but that doesn't mean that your book that you publish should be littered with mistakes.
Absolutely, yes.
So, in terms of politicians, I think we don't mind them making mistakes. It's that they never admit when they've made a mistake. It's fine. Everybody makes mistakes. You know, but it's kind of almost inbuilt to politicians that they will never admit that they've just ballsed up. Okay. And this is the thing we're seeing with this whole, what's his name, Mandelson, not to...
Well, absolutely. And just before I pass it on to you, Ian, of course. Oh, sorry. Of course. Okay. Brilliant. So let's do the people online because wow, there's so much going on. Okay, that's great. Okay. So Alex.
Just a quick one. Just going from the last point, really, it's like if people don't acknowledge their mistakes, and talking about politicians specifically, that they keep making the same mistakes is the issue. You know, that's the problem. I think. That's it.
And then Ben.
Yeah, so basically what I want to say was covered by everyone else. And also, like, it's not only that they make mistake and then try to cover it or don't admit to it. They're doing it with so smug attitude, like you're making a wrong accusation to them, like, and then like 2-3 weeks later, they have to admit the thing, and they're still very smug because they think they're better than us, and that's the thing. That's why they're not supposed to make a mistake in the first place. Okay, and I have some friends who are in politics, and I stopped being friends with them because they become so smug. I cannot stand them. Anyway.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, can't hear you with you talking.
Sorry, I can't. Yeah, we can't. I can't hear you guys around the table. Are you talking to me? Sorry, I sound like bloody Robert De Niro. Are you talking to? You are talking to me, aren't you?
Well,
can't hear you.
We are
Yeah.
talking to you, yes.
Sorry.
It's fine.
I was going to say some people are like allowed to make mistakes. Do you know what I mean? More than others. So it seems that there's more sort of room for error with certain people have that privilege, and including certain politicians and not others.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then open question to the group, and then I'm going to give the mic to Aster. So, who would you think is not allowed to make mistakes, and then who is allowed to make mistakes? Is it a question of privilege? Is it a question of background? Yeah, Ian. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, mistakes are all relative, aren't they? If you look at history, people thought the world was flat or whatever, that's obviously a mistake. Also, my favourite topic, Margaret Thatcher, very strong Prime Minister, but she made mistakes and she never admitted to those. What do we want? Do we want strong leadership, or do we want people that are more human and admit to their errors? I remember in my first year at university, just before Blair, I had one of the lecturers that were, and the people we were learning from, said that the Labour Party would never win another election on their own. So that's obviously a mistake, but he was teaching people that. So that's obviously not facts, it's an opinion. So the thing between opinions and mistakes is very grey.
Okay. Very interesting. Oh yeah. Final thought from you, from Louise. Yes. Oh, Louise. Final thought.
Yeah, kia ora and ka kite means hello and goodbye. I guess I'm here, everybody around the table and online, to learn about facilitation. So excellent job all round, people. And my one observation would be this is a sharing space. So if you can keep it short, whether you're on the mic or driving the mic, that'd be great. And I'd love to see you again. Thanks. Ka kite.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Whoa. Oh, yes. Yes.
So guys, in the meantime, we have flown into the free-flowing Talkaoke, so now it's just pure Talkaoke, no more workshops. So have fun, throw your thoughts, and we'll just run with this conversation. We may swap at some point with the host. Yeah. And I think in terms of the queue for the people speaking, I think there was Asta. And was there Suzanne? You also wanted to throw something in? No. So Asta and then people in the studio. But I'll keep an eye on the people out there.
All right. So Aster.
Yeah. Hi. I was just wondering if you guys think maybe it could be a part of the creative process to make mistakes, because I feel like if you do creative stuff, you need to make mistakes. And the other thing I wanted to say, but that's my personal opinion, I feel like if you're responsible for other people, you're not allowed to make mistakes, but you should communicate about it if other people are affected by your choices.
So that brings the notion of accountability then. Yes.
I just wanted to, Asta's previous point wasn't just about making mistakes, it was also about having fun and as being a good way to teach, because you were saying, Asta, that when you do surfing, you make sure that you're having fun too. And I think that's also another point in a good way of teaching is if you're enjoying it, it's so contagious to students, especially young people when they're students. If they see you're enjoying it, then they enjoy it as well.
Yes, absolutely. So, absolutely. Is there, yes, Ian?
Yeah, I'd like to apologise for the mistake I made earlier for stereotyping the whole of Manchester, which I did, at one fell swoop. I realised that 99% of people around here realised that that was a joke. And I think that humour can be, if you push it too far and you don't do it in the right circumstance, then that can be taken as offence. So I like to feel that everyone comes to this table with an open mind and are able to express their opinions, although if they're not racist, sexist and homophobic, they still matter.
Yes, Margot, yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, okay. Yeah, very, very great point. Suzanne, final thought?
So I came. It was my first real encounter. Even the first time I saw the Talkaoke in for real, and I'm having to leave. So yeah, maybe final thought. I'm gonna maybe not talk about the content of the whole of everything that has been what you have been talking about, but like about the hosting. I think for me, you asked one of the hosts the question like, how did it feel? And I actually have to say, and I haven't been sitting in the middle, it feels quite complicated in a way, like also just to be able to keep track of the points of each and every one. Also, like none of us has been saying his name when he took the mic, but still a lot of the things you say that help is knowing the names of the people to, to be able to interfere or take back the mic. I think, yeah, a complicated point is keeping track of who said what and then to be able in a clever way to link. But yeah, it's a nice format to do like this and see and observe and learn. Like I loved the way how Aster actually did his creative linking, and we didn't follow up on it, but the way how he shifted from fashion, but used fashion to go to a complete different point of youth and how to express your individuality in these days was very inspiring. But also, for me, it doesn't seem very easy. So it was a nice introduction, and it shows that, yeah, being a host isn't an easy thing as well. But I'm motivated to learn more and see more and be part of it.
Thank you very much, Sylvia. Suzanne, sorry. Thank you very much, Suzanne. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you to all of you.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Bye. Bye, Suzanne. Oh, final thought from you, Sylvia. Sylvia? Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. So my final thought is, yeah, Susanna had a good point as well. With the creative linking, it's something that I also struggled with because I tried to answer the question when Marco was writing on the chat, and I couldn't just link anything on the spot because I was still trying to listen to what other people say. But yeah, I think a lesson from me is to start creative linking somehow maybe in my daily life, just to get more flexible on that. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for doing that. I really enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time, and see you in Poland.
All right. So, yes, Mikey.
Too late. I was going to say to Sylvia, we're on our way to Poland, so you can have a go in the middle. But I want to say to people that have come to learn about conversation outside of the Talkaoke table, is a lot of these things that we're saying transpose into a real conversation. And I think if I was going to say one thing, is that conversation is an art form. And if you see it as an artistic practice, it means you can do it in many different ways. You're doing it in your own way, your own personal way, but also you can play and have fun with it as well. And that's really, really important.
I was going to say...
Go on, Chris.
I was going to say that the billions which were given to the EU for the single market, Keir Starmer, where's he getting the money from? And then I watched the film today, something, Margot, you'll be interested in, about 1944, when the Ukrainians and the Russians, partisans, were, you did that film we did, or that theatre thing you did, and explained about why Russians took the upper hand on certain things, the Russian front, or the Ukrainian front. The good connection was there that they were a bit, they sorted it, but they were a bit, didn't want to, the word partisan probably means take part and something. So the first one, where's this money coming from? This billions going to the single market to get us back into the EU, or where's this, or there seems to be a communist something. So
Wow,
I don't know
okay.
if you can open that into two things.
Okay, wow. Yes, Marco.
Maybe I could try, Christopher. And thank you for coming in as well. All the way from where?
Boston, UK.
Okay. Yeah, go on, Boston. So maybe what I could glean from your question is, do people know what communism is? That's number one. Are we living
Oh
in
no,
new
the billions
communism?
we're losing. The billions we're
Yeah,
losing.
yeah. But I'm just trying.
The billion he's going to take. He's going to give Ursula, and he's going to and we're already in a living crisis. And where's it going to?
I get it, Christopher. So Asta is going, so we're going to ask your final thoughts, Asta, before you go. But I'm just going to, from your opinion, maybe I could just take some questions, turn your opinion into some questions so I can involve more people. So I could say something like, are we living in, is Keir Starmer a communist prime minister? Where is he getting the money from? Do people even know what communism is? Do people know who Keir Starmer is? There are people from all over the world. These are some of the things. But before we continue, and I hand back to Helena, Asta, what is your final thought? Your first Talkaoke, huh?
What's your final thought, Aster? Yeah.
Lots of thoughts. Hard to put it into phrases, definitely in English. The only thing I really want to say is thanks for letting me be here. And I think it's really cool that every one of us wants to learn about how we can bring together people and talk, because I feel like there is not enough talking in the world, like real conversations with respect for each other. So cheers to everyone for being here, and hope to see you next time. Bye, guys.
All right, right. So let's carry on. Okay. So.
So what I would do here, Helena, is say, right, okay, Talkaoke crew, we're at a crossroads here because we've got this thing about the EU, about Keir Starmer, and we've got the thing about identity, and we've got the thing about mistakes and learning and creativity. Where do you want to take that? Just put it straight to them. Where do you want to take this conversation? Maybe you could link all these things together. Maybe we made a mistake to vote to go out of the EU. Or maybe we made a mistake to feel like we need to come back in. But I don't know. And how expensive is that mistake, following on from Christopher's point? But, it's kind of, but I would just present it so that everyone feels like they're being listened to, and we can weave this all in, but also let the kind of flow of conversation.
What I was trying to say as well, one last thing, was we either go into a multi-market or we go into or we stay in a single market, which is good for the Europe, but not for the for us.
Okay, so so we're definitely going to try and weave that into all the subjects. We've got lots of hands up. So.
Okay, right. So let's see. So lovely Talkaoke crew, we are indeed at a crossroad, as Mikey was saying, because we are between discussing identity, mistakes, the EU, the single market, and also communism. So where do you want to take it from here? Which direction?
Was the previous government better than the current government? Okay, and was Tory government as a whole concept better than the Labour government, what they're doing at the moment?
Okay, so very big question, but Kozru, before I open it up to the whole of the crew, what do you think?
I think the previous government was better than this government. I definitely think so, because it's absolutely ridiculous what they're doing.
So, okay, Ian, I can sense you reacting really hardly.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on the last one. I think to draw the whole thing together, I think you need to talk about identity. And post-war, after Britain lost its empire, what ceased to be a major power in that sense, we had two ways to go. We could possibly go with the EU, that's why we've flirted with Europe all this time, still maintaining the fact that we're not Europeans. or we could remain the lapdog of America. Since Trump has come in, it's become very hard to be pro-American, and he's taken every opportunity to destabilise this country. We're not big enough to survive on our own. I think the only way as a country we will survive is either being one or the other. I personally favour being more closer to Europe. Other people might have different things, but the identity is to be part of something bigger because...
Okay, very good point. So basically, what you're saying, Ian, if I'm correct, is that it's about identity, and that's what ties everything together in some ways for that topic. Okay, very interesting point. Alex?
Yeah, just on that point on the government and the way who was better and who was worse and whatever. I've likened it to like a good cop, bad cop act, where like the Reds, the red team are the good cop, and the blue team are the bad cop, and then it just kind of switches over, but we still keep ratcheting towards the same kind of inequities. And now it seems to have shifted a bit. It's like kind of because there's more players in the game, into just being seen as the least bad cop.
Okay, very interesting point. Like, who is the least bad cop? But however, before we move on to potentially that question, Sabine has to leave. So could we hear your final thought, please, Sabine? Hello. More like goodbye.
Yes, of course. Thank you, everyone. It was so nice to be back at Talkaoke. It's been quite a while since I haven't participated, so it was really good to brush up my, all the little tips about being a host in the middle of the donut. And I have to admit that being hungry, I got kind of lost off the track of the conversation now with the UK politics. So I'm leaving you to this. Goodbye. See you soon, I hope.
Thank you very much. Bye. Yeah. So, yeah, okay, bye. All right. Thank you very much and bye. All right. So, I think, oh, wow, so many people. Okay, so let's start with you. Oh, okay, you were stretching. My bad. Okay, yes.
Really quick response, because I don't think anyone addressed too much the previous government. I would say the difference is that before we used to have conversations about nonsense, and now we have issues with actual politics. So I think it's not even comparable. That's my...
Can I just ask you, what do you mean when you say that?
So with the Tories, me and my friends used to do a quiz at the end of every year, and we used to have something that was dedicated to Tory scandals, and it was not hard to fill an entire pub quiz round with just the most ridiculous scandals. And now we're having debates, and we can disagree and we can agree, but we're disagreeing and agreeing, I would say, about politics as opposed to what we're seeing in America. But I think you made a really good point about identity, because I think so much of the issues that we're facing in the UK, or I know people are international, so globally, is that we have no direction. Of that before, we'd have an idea of what we came from, what we are now, and where we want to go. And I don't necessarily agree with a lot of what Thatcher did, but the one thing that I'll give her is that I think that she thought that she was right. And I don't think that people care too much about doing the right thing anymore. I think they care about doing the right thing by them. And I think it's a bit of a losing battle, because I think it's more about power, and it's not about a battle of ideas. I think it's a battle of like personal power now, of who can get the most out of it.
Wow. Okay, so that's a really, really interesting point, I thought. And so, based on what you just said, so question to the crew. So, is it better to be right for everyone, or is it better to be right for yourself?
That's a difficult question. But going kind of back to this, I think in the time of Margaret Thatcher, to some degree, Blair, although I think the dissolution of the world order just happened then. I think Blair, Major, people believed in a world order. They believed in rules. And now we have this, at the moment, certainly with the US and Israel, it is might is right, and that is all. and it doesn't matter if what international law says. Piracy is now legal. You know, we can do anything as long as you have sufficient power and sufficient support. I'm not sure that we should be aligning with the EU or America. Why not China? At least they obey some rules.
So very, very interesting point as well. But so then, could you just clarify really quickly what you mean about the world order? Like, what were the rules back then that we don't have anymore now?
There are rules in terms of what you can do. We're now questioning what genocide is. You didn't kill everybody. Well, in that case, the Holocaust wasn't a genocide. You know, there are all sorts of weird things that people go on and on about and say, well, this is like, it's okay. Piracy on the high seas. There are rules, the rules of the sea. And we know what the rules are because they're written down, and now they're being ignored by powerful nations. And the EU looking at it, and you know, Britain looking at it, and we're like, oh no, can't see that. Oh, if China did it, now we would look at it. If Japan did it, we might consider it. Or Korea did it. You know, it's those allies that we think are allies are the ones that we think, okay, that's okay, you do what you like, it's fine.
Okay, so what you're saying, and then I would like to open this to the group, is that, if I'm correct, is that basically everything is much more vague, it's very unclear, and there is sort of like this very like vague and very, very unclear views that people have about the world. Yeah.
Ask that question.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right. Thank you, Mikey. Yes. So, is there therefore a more of like vagueness around how we treat certain topics, where before there were like much more. How could I say it? Like they were much more fixed. How do you guys feel about this? Yeah.
I think in the past we used to grow seeds like an oak tree and it would take 70 years to grow. But now we are paid so little that we only look for 4 years, and therefore we don't have any vision or really care about what's happening. But I also slightly feel that this should be like a bit like a pub where you don't talk about politics or religion.
So should Talkaoke be a place where we avoid talking about politics and religion then? Yes, Mike?
No.
I was just opening the question.
If you mean like a pub, we should be drinking alcohol. I'll go along that line. No, I just wanted to mention something about Thatcher, and that is she kept 48% of the people happy and 52% of the people really unhappy. And so, in a way, it was like an elected dictatorship, which is still now. We don't know where the major parties stand. That's why we've got such a plethora of smaller parties. And I think that's interesting. I would just, when it comes to PR, for instance, before an election, the Labour Party, for instance, is a very wide church, and they have their own kind of PR in the manifesto. They fight to get things in there, and it doesn't come out from some people. So yeah, there you go.
Okay, so yes, absolutely. And so what I'm trying to do right now, if I'm being totally transparent, is that I'm like trying to link the conversation. Yeah, world order, exactly, with this particular with your particular input. So let's see. Okay, right. So in that case, yes, I saw you, Sophie. So yes, so in that case, do you guys think that the world order that we used to have before was right, and that therefore this one is a mistake?
Well, I can tell you something about Margaret Thatcher. Where I live, all the businesses in the docks went under when she got all the dock staff. Because I was talking to someone that I knew was a charge hand in the docks, in the mill area, in that facility. He went to the union rep to go to the Prime Minister of Margaret Thatcher to ask for her backing to give them more money. Do you know what she said? She's got no more left. She said what she done, they all went out on strike, she sacked a lot of them and shut all the docks down. Simple as that.
I mean, I've got to say, just on the point, and you were touching on it, Ian, about I really feel like democracy is not fit for purpose. Because a lot of people have said we're not talking about the right things. The whole way it's set up is in a 19th century Victorian way where, you know, a bunch of like toffs kind of shouting at each other across a divide. So much has moved on. I think the biggest problem, the reason why I've got Donald Trump is social media and him manipulating, not him, but his allies manipulating social media. And I think we're really in danger of society fragmenting when, to me, having sort of worked loosely on democracy all this time, the way to heal it is so easy. It's just about listening to people, but not just listening and go, oh yeah, we heard what you said, but actually responding to what people say. And actually there's so much possibility that we're not using, and democracy is designed in completely the wrong way.
Yes, Alex. Yeah. Alex, hello.
Hi. Yeah. I was just making a point and then sending it on the thing. Sorry. I'll come back.
Alex to be returned then. Yes, Margot.
I wonder about the quieter voices around the table. There's some aggro on the chat. I'm exaggerating by saying aggro, by the way, guys. About this being a UK-based politics conversation. I'm just really curious, were people born in this country? And if not, are you living, or the country where you're living currently, what's the politics now? Do people talk about politics? Should that be something that is relegated to just talking about with your friends, not something for a public discussion? Or, that's what I'm kind of thinking. And that goes for quiet voices around the Talkaoke table here. And if you've raised your hand a lot of times, but let's just see what happens if new people speak.
And maybe Helena, you could think about giving a mic to not me. But
Yes. Yes. You are totally right. Thank you, Mikey. Yes. So to that point, Elam, yeah.
This is one for Mikey. What you said that politicians should be responding to what people want. I mean, the local elections are coming up in London now. What would you respond to if you were running for mayor? This is for Mikey.
Okay, so in order to not just ask Mikey, let's open this question. What would you guys do if you were mayor? Like, I mean, like if you were wanting to get elected as mayor? Yes, Draghi.
Yeah, I think I would, at least in Germany, I would get like public bathrooms for everyone, because you have to pay now like €2 almost for going to the toilet, right? That's something I would do if I was a mayor. But what I wanted to say before is I think democracy is fine. I think it kind of frightens me, because I also met people from Germany who wanted to bring back the big Kaiserreich, right? Because of this idea that, you have a politician for 4 years, and then this politician doesn't care what's going to happen afterwards. But then the argumentative line is, if I have like a Kaiser, like he will really be into what's going to happen to this country. But on the other side, I think it's really dangerous to say, okay, democracy doesn't work anymore, or is not working. The very fact that democracy exists is that people like people in power, like Trump, became mad, and there was so much destruction because of that. That's how democracy kind of was born.
So that's how democracy was born, absolutely. But just as Margot pointed it out, just for the group, could you explain to the whole crew what is Kaiserreich in the for the UK crew, basically? Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you had it's like the King of Kings. Okay. It's like Caesar. There was one big guy like the Queen in Germany. Like Germany was a monarchy, and the biggest dude was the Kaiser, like the Caesar of Germany. And you have it also in Russia, like they say, instead of saying Kaiser or Caesar, they say Tsar, which
Okay.
is really the same word, but
Okay.
different pronounce.
Okay, so he was basically the mega boss, the mega mayor.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, thank you very much. Okay, and so I'm just really curious to hear what would you guys do if you were like the mega boss or the mega mayor? What would you do? Because so we had public bathroom from Draghe. Then we had Ian. What
For
would you do?
free, yeah? Public bathroom for free.
Oh yeah, of course, public bathroom for free. Of course, thank you for. Of course. Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, so in that case, Imogen.
Yeah, that's right.
Change the voting system. Number one, because it's not proportional. So yeah, have like proportional representation instead. I don't know if there's any other better ones, but I just remember that one popping up as a better option. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So we haven't heard much from you, Murray, and then we'll go to you, Sophie. What would you do if you were like the mega mayor?
Maybe I will give houses for homeless.
Okay, Sophie, what would you do if you were the mega mayor?
I would open up all the shut down public toilets. So when you've got like a big road race, they want to go away, instead of using portaloos, go into the outside public toilets and do away with crooked people that kind of fall, dodgy people that don't really give a monkeys.
Okay, wow. Okay, so we have like tons of different suggestions about what would you do if you were a mega mayor. Liddy or Kaz, yeah? What would you do if you were like the mega mayor of the world? Well, okay, maybe not the world. Okay. Let's reach some boundaries. Let's say London. Yeah, or whichever city you want.
Whenever I think of this question, I think about homelessness a lot, and I would add a revolutionary edge to it, saying I would make it first thing. I would make it illegal for anyone to own more than 3 houses, and the landlords.
Okay. Yes, Paul.
I would completely abolish the local council tax on people. Completely abolish it. And also, I think the mayor's, on his manifesto, he's added to give everyone the freedom pass. He's saying that he's going to do that, but I don't believe that. That's a policy he's. That's a policy I heard that it's a policy that he's using, I think, to get re-elected. But he has done few good stuff, but there's a lot of negativity as well because of his previous stuff that he's done as a mayor.
Yes, you had a point, Janelle?
It was actually just building on Imogen's point about changing voting, is that I think I would bring in votes for 16. Because I think it's ridiculous that we still have the votes at 18 when there are so many things that affect you at 16. So when I was 16, I started paying taxes. I signed up for my student loan before I was 18. I signed up for all of these things and was allowed to do all of this before I was 18, but wasn't allowed to vote and have any say on it whatsoever.
That's a very interesting point, and like I'd like to link it really quickly to. So what were you like when you were 16, and like had you had the chance, would you have voted when you were 16? Ah, well there we go. Yeah, you had a point, I think, Liddy. Oh yes, of course.
Hello, I think I would get rid of voting and have a random, like you can get jurors because it's at a certain time you get told you are going to be head of state, and there would not be just one. There would have to be like about 7 or 8 people that would be head of state, and they'd all have to work together, and it would just be randomly picked from the population.
Okay, very interesting point. All right, yes, you had a point, Liddy, right? Okay.
I had a point because I misheard you. I thought you said, and linking back to your point on age, I thought you said I didn't vote until I was 60, and I thought, She said she was young, for sure. Then she said she's older than she looks. But that makes me think, should we also limit the age to vote? And when you're not going to live with the consequences of your votes because you're too old and you're going to die within 5 to 10 years, should we maybe stop the disabled people from voting there?
All right, very. Okay, yes. So we have lots of responses to on the TV. So yes, Imogene. Sorry. So Alex first, and then Imogene. Yes, go for it, Alex.
I've got a lot to say about it, but then I'll be as brief as I can. But there's too much to say. From my perspective, I've got lived experience of a lot of these things that get talked about by people who may not have had the experiences. So being homeless, going through the system, being care experienced, having multiple disadvantage, and I'm working with lived experience groups in my local area in Greater Manchester to start to solve the problem. So what I'm trying to say is, if I was mayor, I'd actually just start solving the problem rather than just sitting around and kind of talking about it and saying what you're going to do. Just actually start doing it. So just to give one example, I was homeless again and threatening to become homeless in COVID times, 2020. So what I did was I went and I found a bit of land on Greenbelt and on the edge of the outskirts of my little village area in Trafford, and I built a house. I built a tree house and I solved the problem, and there was no electricity in the flat that I was in. Because I didn't have any money, so I had to get out of the flat because I couldn't use it. So in being outside in the trees, out of wood, I built a space that I can get out of the rain. I could make a fire, I could heat water, I could wash myself, I could eat and cook, and do fulfill all those needs. So the number one thing for me would be land reform and start locally rather than trying to solve the world's problems. Just do it.
But that's a very interesting point. Thank you, Alex. And so, in the spirit of that, instead of being like, let's say, mayor of the whole world forever and ever, how should we maybe like reduce it to like, what would you concretely want to do right now at your level? What seems feasible? What doesn't seem feasible? What would you want to do? Yes. Okay. Yeah.
I had a slightly different. I was just regarding what Mikey said, that democracy is not the best system, and PR may be a good system. This might sound very controversial, but what about going back to the only people allowed to vote are landowners? Okay, well, now, So here's the thing.
Jeremy Clarkson.
If we're talking about Jeremy Clarkson as well. But if we're talking about
who's Jeremy Clarkson first? Yeah, but okay, fair enough.
But the thing is, we talk about only 4 years and the political cycle being only 4 years. Now, people that own land or own property are not thinking in 4 years. They're thinking in 10 years, 20 years, 100 years, 200 years, because they want to leave it to their children, their grandchildren, their whatever it is. And maybe that might be a better system. It used to happen.
Okay, so controversial opinion from Akbar. We should only have landowners vote. Yes, I'm going to go to you, Darnell.
Really, I hear your point, but my point would be I'm not going to die in 10 years just because I don't have a house. Like, the things that happen in this country are still going to affect me. Yeah. And actually, so the first thing I could vote in was Brexit. And I have watched like every vote that happened before then, and then after that not go the way I couldn't vote in all these things, and I am living the consequences of a lot of these things. And actually, I can't own a house. I'm struggling with all these things directly because of all of those things that were voted, because they were not thinking about people like me or all of the people that we're going to come after in a world that has changed. And sorry, final thing is that I think we've reached a point where we're looking back in time and being like, oh, that was better. Why don't we do? No, there was a reason why we stopped doing those things. And I think we should be looking forward about where we want to go instead of trying to reinvent the wheel.
Okay. Okay. Oh, final thoughts from Lek. Okay, Lek, what is your final thought?
No, it's a mistake. I just said that a small remark to people using the pink mic. Maybe it's just my thing, but some of you I can't hear quite well due to your mouth being too away from the pink mic. That's that. I'm not leaving.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. Okay. Okay. Well, that's really noted. So from now on, we will have the mics like really, really close to the face. Yes. Yes.
I'm a quiet voice. I've not said anything on the discussion. So is there none of a discussion happening there? Anyway, what I want to say is very important. I was watching... Yes. So I was trying to make a point here, but I don't own land. I don't own land. Can I make a point? But I do want to own land as my point number one. Where do I sign? Secondly, I was listening to Gary Stevenson's podcast on YouTube, and he was talking about voting for Greens because they would tax the rich. And I'm very interested in this idea, and I wondered what people's views are on that. Is taxing the richest people a good idea in your view?
Okay, so is taxing the richest people a good idea? Doom, doom, doom. Yes, Sophie?
Not particularly. What they should do is stop all this building lot and keep the green belt.
Wow. Okay, so yes, Cause, you had a point?
Yeah, so when you say like
It was Prada.
should they put tax on people who are like richer? Yes, I do, because the reason I say that they put tax on people that can't afford to give tax as well. So it's like I'll say it should come out of the government instead of the policy of taking it from the public's money. And there's no like, it's not enough explanation where's the money going to. Okay, so there should be more explanation how it's been utilized and where it's been utilized to.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so Ian, you have been patient enough. I shall now hand you the mic really quickly, and then to D-Rage. Sorry, Dragé.
So much to say. First of all, I would ban career politicians. Then I would ban any amount of money that's put in by private cryptocurrencies for a start. Reform receiving £9 million in cryptocurrencies. I don't even know what it is. What else did we talk about? What was the last point? Sorry, I had a point. Taxing the rich, yeah, I'm probably a classical Marxist. However, I don't believe in unfairness. And that is to say, the system we have now is a sliding scale. And I think the rich, they probably can pay more. And we're talking about the mega rich here. We do have a middle class that tends to get choked. And yeah, so let's be reasonable about this, in a democracy, because our friend here is a doctor, I would add actually that you can be any age to be a student. So I was told I was too old to be a student when I was a mature student. So if you look too young, it's just the other side of the coin. Yeah. So the taxation thing and career politicians and insider dealing.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Thank you very much, Ian. And so, actually, yes, Sophie, wait, guys. So we're going to Dragé first, then to Sophie, then to Cause. Okay. Dragé.
Okay.
I think rich people shouldn't be taxed more, like generally, because I don't know. It's like you have like it's kind of like a freedom. I mean, you could choose to spend your time making money, and then you would have a lot of money, but you can decide whether you use that money for good or whether you want to make more money. Yeah, I think this opportunity to do also bad decisions should also exist. Otherwise, it would be too regulated, I think.
Okay.
I was going to say that what's Devil's Prada? That proves that the retail, if you watch it, you'll find it interesting. And then something you drag about the going back to the government thing. It's basically holding on to and destroying and that. But and that was what was in this film I watched last night, Devil's Prada. It was with Meryl Streep and that, and how they sort of like they don't actually talk about the money in the film, but they sort of like show what clothing and that and the rich, and they show the Monte Carlo, and they show the what's that place on the thing, Milan, and they all the rich told to talk in certain ways and things. It's not all about money. It's how you get on, you talk, if you don't say the right things, you're either bankrupt or something and that. Watch it. There's a lot in there.
Thank you very much. Yes, Sophie, and then we will move on. Yes.
Well, to our friend over there, the doctor, I'm concerned about what they are doing. Because they have worked so hard, why can't the government help to give them more money to stay in their jobs?
Okay. Okay, that's a really. Would you want to answer to that question?
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's I know it's topical at the moment about student finances. I'll keep it really quick, but I think that you mentioned there's a middle class, and I think there's a middle class that is shrinking, and I think there's a middle class that doesn't necessarily relate to what a middle class used to be, of the we have wages and we have student finance and we have all these things that I moved to London 10 years ago, and I was on student finance, and I actually think that I was almost felt more wealthy as a PhD student who was being paid nothing than I now do as a junior lecturer who was earning categorically like £25,000 more a year than I was at that point. So I think when we're saying pay more, I think there are so many things going wrong in this country, and we do need to be paying more, but equally it's so much more complex than the government just paying doctors more, because there's all of the cost that goes into being a doctor. There's your accommodation, there's your living costs, there's all of these, and we can't just keep throwing. I think in the meantime we should throw money at us, but I think there are wider conversations that need to be had about what the future is going to look like for young people in this country.
So that's a very, very good question, and on that point, I think that it may be time for a little swap.
Okay, give Helena a massive round of applause. A whopping 50 minutes in the Talkaoke table. Well done, Helena. Jump out. Oh no, you're going under, aren't you? Helena's going under. If I'm going in the middle, can I just ask somebody to be very nice and just take some videos and photos for posterity, because no one ever does. Or they're like 3 seconds long. Okay. Yeah. My code for the phone is... Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, Kate, before you go, just as I clambered underneath the Talkaoke table, went into all this effort, I would love you to give us a final thought. Sophie, are you sitting down or are you bouncing? Lovely. All right, people, welcome to Talkaoke. It's still Talkaoke. Kate, as you're going, I'm going to prioritize you. Would you be so kind and give us a final thought? It could be about anything from the beginning of the day. The day seems like it's been many, many hours. It's only been 3 hours.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Very lots of layered conversations. It's quite tiring. I find it quite hard to keep concentrating on how much there is, and not to get too depressed about the state of the world. I find that quite hard going. But I really enjoyed hearing everyone's thoughts, and it's really interesting having everyone in the television screen, hearing other perspectives that really sort of shift the way you think. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good.
You have definitely brought a lot of energy. Maybe we need to provide more snacks to keep your energy and optimism high. But thank you so much, and hopefully see you soon. Also, Imogen, you're gonna bounce. You know the rules.
Yeah.
Give us a final thought. Is your energy as well?
Yeah, I'm pretty tired as well. Yeah, thank you everybody. I missed the workshop, but enjoyed the conversation. It was quite politically heavy this evening, which is interesting. And I was just going to add on to the talk about money, that I think time is something that I really want more of. Maybe money would always be nice, but for me, I would love to have more time and work less. So yeah, that's my contribution to that. But yeah, thank you. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you, Imogen. I mean, would our politicians, would our billionaires prefer to be paid in time as opposed to money? Could that function? But anyway, this is the last round of Talkaoke. Let's get some names. Let's get some names for once and for all. My name is Margot. What is your name?
Hi, I'm Mikey.
Hello, Mike.
Sophie.
Hi, I'm Charles.
Hello.
Lydie.
Kozru.
Helena. And online we've got, just shout it out, because obviously my order on this.
Draghi.
Hi, Draghi.
Alex.
Hi, Alex.
Christopher.
Hey, Christopher.
Hello.
Very nice.
And Lech.
Lech.
Still Lech, yes, I was right. All right, and who do we have there in cheap seats? Very cheap seats. Scott, we've got Scott. You can't see him, but he's definitely here in body and spirit. So where do we want to take this conversation? There's been lots of subjects. I'm going to go to Mikey then too.
I feel sad that Kate feels depressed to hear all the opinions, but I can understand why, because it seems like the world is just going, but I do sort of feel that, I'm an unrealistic optimist, so I feel like there is hope there. And I think we need to be able to feel that we can fix things. I was very inspired by Alex's point about, I was homeless. Instead of going through a bureaucratic process, he just went out there and built a tree house. But I think what that kind of suggests is that we do have our own power to change things, and part of all this government and all this politics and money and all the thing is to almost suppress that raw and it's a raw creative power that we talked about earlier on in the day.
Raw creative power. Is your creative power being stifled? Elam is in bed as listening to this. Is this going to give her good dreams or nightmares? We don't know. We'll find out. Do you have a creative power?
I don't know. Maybe. But I wanted to. I would. I'd love a creative power. It's flying or something. No. What I'd like to it's regarding the student finance and things like this. I think we have gone crazy in this country because when I was at university, I'm old, obviously. When I went to university, rich people paid more than poor people because you didn't get a grant if you were rich. I understand that, but you got a grant. I got a grant. My parents weren't that wealthy, but if you didn't get a grant, if you were wealthy, you didn't get a grant. So effectively, it was more expensive if you were wealthier. Now, it's the complete opposite. If you're wealthier, going to university is cheaper than if you're poor. because student fees are lower. You don't pay interest. You know, all of these things. I mean, literally, you get a discount on your student fees if you pay them up front. Every university does this. But if you can't afford to pay it up front, you've got to pay at least 5% extra.
So, student finance, is Britain leading the way in making access to education equal by making fees the same for poor and rich? It's one of the questions.
Just really quickly, I mean, to put some numbers to it, when you were saying that it's more expensive for poor people, it 100% is, and I think that's not an opinion. So for me, I was not in a situation where my family could pay for my student finance out of pocket. I took out the loans. My interest went up. I couldn't make repayments while I was on a PhD because you don't get paid as a PhD student, but you carry on incurring interest. I'm currently in over £100,000 worth of debt for my student for just a 4-year degree. That's how much I incurred, £25,000 in interest during my PhD for 4 years that I couldn't pay back. I pay £200 or so back a month, which is essentially graduate tax, which is the way it was sold to me, which is fine, except I went to a university in London and a lot of my friends there were wealthier. They didn't have any finances, their parents paid for it out of pocket. They get all of their salary, and for the next 30 years, I'm going to keep paying off something I physically cannot pay back. Currently, the payments that I'm making, and I earn more than the average person my age does. Currently, the payments that I'm making do not match the interest I'm incurring every year. I've actually not started paying back any of the money that I actually borrowed. So it is not, to me, an opinion. It is absolutely categorically the fact that we have a system where if you're poorer, you're punished.
Thank you for sharing this, and this is quite outrageous to me, even though I'm supposed to be a neutral host, have no feelings or opinions. So are we punishing poorer students? Are we punishing poorer students with whacking quite a lot of repayments and interest on them? I'm going to go to Ian, then Liddy, and then Alex, Lech, and then Cosmo.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for doing the worthwhile job that you do and incurring all this debt to serve a society that I'm a member of. So I show you my gratitude on that. I go back to my student roots and say that education is education is a priority. It's not a business. It's a right. You know, and when we started paying for education, I went to a university as a non-traditional student, which means that I was working class. You know, so I just missed the loans thing. But if we make people like this pay to be able to serve humanity, then there is something seriously wrong. I'd like to also pay tribute to Alex, who I've been involved in men's mental health myself. I'd just like to say, you know, keep on keeping on, brother. And there's many people like you around the country, and I'd like to show my support to you. You'll have to come down to my men's group one day, not my men's group, the one that I attend, because I'm sure that everybody there will be interested in your experiences.
And the men's group is a vibe. I'll just add that for myself. But that's a very interesting point. Do we and how could we reward people for contributing something to society? I mean, do we even know who's contributing? Is it even, you know, do we know how much people who are working for public good, how much of the difficulty they're in financially?
I want to start by saying I'm really enjoying this conversation, and it's so interesting to hear what you just said. I'm flabbergasted. As a French person who does not, like, education is not free, but it's certainly not something you have to go in debt for, not at all this much. So there is hope outside of this country. The model that is happening in this country and in America is not worldwide. In that sense, I want to say one of the other things I discovered when coming to this country is high-cost short-term credit, and which is known as payday loans, and that culture of having constantly a loan, be it for students, but that is just very ingrained in the way society works. And the cost of being poor is definitely something that it's almost like I sometimes feel like the whole economy is powered by poor people paying an insane how do you call like they pay more for everything, and it's the you know the richer you are, the more benefits you get, and the poorer you are, the more you have to pay in services that are becoming, because you cannot afford to come out of this system. So I think it's a system problem.
Maybe we should look out to Europe for different models of approach to education and other things. And our poor, again, being punished is taxing rich. Still, I think that would fix it. Alex, I'm going to come to you, then Lech, and then Kozru and Helena. Thank you. Well, I'm sorry, Mikey.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the lots of positive feedback on that. What I shared, really appreciated. It really does help me just keep going. And yeah, just to say that on that offer, yeah, I'd love to be able to talk about these things more. I do have a bit of a blog sharing it, but like I've got so much process that I've captured over the years, which I would love to be able to share. So perhaps we could do that, down the line. But yeah, just to kind of respond to an earlier question that I think that started this section about stifled creativity. I think personally, I have a creative background in like storytelling and filmmaking, animation, but then I've found having to focus on like survival and systems change and helping the system actually change really does take me away from like more personal creative endeavors, which is more fictional filmmaking is what I want to do, but I can't focus on that. So it's kind of being traumatized and in that kind of survival mind frame really does hinder my creativity and like kind of my ability to think openly and be creative. And I can't help but connect that back to the lady there. Sorry, I forgot your name. Sharing about the PhD, and I think that mirrors what I'm sharing there. About you're worrying about debt rather than just focusing on the task at hand of what you're supposed to be doing. That's just counterproductive, and it's just not fair.
Just one thing I'll say, Ian, there's Alex's email address. Please write it down and get in touch. That's number one thing. And secondly, is being in a survival mode traumatizing? Is it actually standing in the way of us contributing to a society and stuff like that? I'm going to go to Lech because I promised. Thanks, Alex. And we will have you in London anytime.
It may be irrelevant at the point. I just wanted to ask you, why do you think that it's so difficult for the right and the left to unite in the States in terms of, in the case of student loans? Because this subject is not only outrageous, but horrendous to me. And there are some cultural issues related to that, but maybe it's too late into the Talkaoke to actually start this subject.
Well, we can try. So I guess your question is like, first of all, is right and left in the UK, are they in disagreement about how to handle the student?
No, not in the States. In the States, because it's about not having public educations and being indebted due to student loans.
Can I ask you, Lech, did you get into debt because of your education?
No, because of the previous speaker at Talkaoke. The lady over there.
No, I know, but I'm just curious about your situation.
No, I come from a country where education is public, and when I hear those stories from the States, they are like, like from a horror movie.
Okay, thanks, Lech. I'm going to go to Charles, right? And then I'll come to Karen.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a bit controversial. Going back to taxing the rich. Taxing the rich, they're already taxed quite a lot. They're the people who employ people and make the work system work. And so I don't think taxing them, it would be, if you did tax them more, it would be a drop in the ocean and it wouldn't solve any solutions, but it would put them off. On the other hand, in terms of education, yes, we all need to be educated, but I think far too many people think they should go to university, and I think we should bring back, learning trades and that much more. The idea that you have to go to university. My son went to university. He hated it. He got a bad degree. He's got £57,000 of debt, and he's got a crap job. So, it's not the way to get a better job. So that's kind of my outside opinion.
So maybe there are two questions. One is about, are universities relevant these days? Should we be investing more in learning the trade? But also, if we tax rich more, we'll put them off. Put them off what? Could a poor person, quote unquote poor person, create jobs? Would they have any ideas? Or they couldn't because they're poor? Just some of the questions. I'm going to come to Mike, because I promised I'm going to come.
Debt is a way to control people. And the problem with students, they come up with new ideas, new ways of doing things, which I think this country desperately needs. How do you control those people? By just hitting them with lifelong debt, and then they won't step out of line.
Okay, can I ask what do people think about that, or any of the other points? Kozra, I promised you the mic. Are you being is debt a way of controlling people? Is anybody here in debt? Do you still feel free?
Yes, I am on debt. I'm on debt of over £8,500, and I'm unemployed at the moment as well. So it's like totally, it's crazy. Going back to what I was going to say, what Charles was saying.
About genius.
Talking about the rich getting taxed. What I would suggest was they should put a capping. They should put a capping on on the tax on people who cannot afford to pay the tax of the issues they're facing, like student loans and stuff. There should be completely lower tax, and on like it should be like that. So like they said in the for example council tax, they put a capping onto it. They should do the same thing on the thing as well, and it should be raised.
Thanks, Kozra. Should we be capping the tax? And also, if you went and did a degree that, in the case of your son, turned out to be really useless, should you get your money back? Just an idea. Maybe you could. Maybe you could.
No, Margot, you'd have to be a genius. That would cut the.
Yeah, go on, Christopher. Don't cut the tax.
Well, I'm a genius. I got made redundant at Wilco's, and most of the Mickey Mouse courses are not geniuses, and that's the block. This is why, going back to all these other questions, all these other subjects, we've blocked ourselves with so much crap and so much rubbish that we've made so many. So that I think that's what's. Yeah.
So you're saying there may be people who are stupid. They go to university and they're just wasting everybody's time. Only geniuses should be really going to universities. And how do you determine that? These are just some of the questions, but there is an order here, believe it or not. And I'm trying to keep tabs. You had your hand. Helena was first. I know it.
Thank you, Margot. Yes. So, coming back, I'd just like to link something to what Mike said much earlier on about being positive, which I think can be easily tied into this conversation. I mean, at least I hope so. So basically, I think that for me, I would rather be very depressed talking about the state of the world, but at least knowing what is really going on, or at least what is going on to a maximum. That because the more you know about what is going on, the more you can act and start to change things. And so, I think that this is why it's just very, very important to be sometimes to be a bit depressed and a bit annoyed at what people say and at what people might think, and because at least now you know, and now you can do something, basically.
Okay, so So lean into the outrage, lean into derage, and maybe that's an opportunity to act, not just passively drift through life. I'm adding this. This is just extra. Then thank you, Helena.
Yeah, I mean, there was talk about that everybody agrees with education. Well, I've always thought that the Tories in my time got the idea of education wrong. The whole world revolves around value. Gold's very rare, certain things are very rare, that pushes up the value of it. And what they don't understand is that education is not like that. Education is more valuable the more widespread it is. When it comes to education, I went to university as a working class lad. I went as a mature student. I hadn't studied for 20 odd years before I went back there. And I could tell you stuff about the Bad Godesberg Agreement of 1957, but it very rarely comes up at parties, you know. What I actually learned in education was be able to talk, to be able to realise that my opinions are just as valid as anybody else's, to get that feeling that my opinion matters. And as long as I can prove it in some way, and it has some legs, then I should be able to have that opinion.
Can I have a question for you?
Of course.
I'll say it on the mic. So we were talking about, as you, Mikey, said, putting people in debt is a way of controlling people, but is therefore giving people education, giving people freedom, or am I just making too much of it? Do you feel more free when you...
Absolutely, education makes you free. I saw a wonderful interview with Alexei Sal and Stuart Lee. Yeah, and the thing was, when we had the grant system, you had working class people going to university, becoming educated, and that's when you had the satire and the comic boom of the what would it be, the late 80s, the Thatcherite sort of thing. People were actually taking a mickey out of the establishment, like Peter Cook and people like that, although he was an Oxbridge guy. But people actually, working class people that are educated, are dangerous to the system, because then they have the power to realise that their opinions matter and they can put them forward. They brought in grants and loans to stop working class people going into education.
Okay, so working class people educated are dangerous. Maybe there's some disagreement there, but yes.
I'd actually like to build on your point. So I also came from a working class background and was traditionally like of an underrepresented group at university. And I would say, despite what I'm saying about the debt, I would do it all again. And I actually find it really frustrating that the rhetoric that I was given was to not bother to go to university and to learn a trade. And I don't disagree with you. And I think it is true that not everything needs to go to university. We don't need to turn everything into a degree. But we have to be really careful about when we're talking about these things, about Mickey Mouse degrees and who's going to degrees, because the bit is silent of that we're saying it's too many working class people are going to university. Because nobody had an issue when like upper class or middle class, upper middle class people were going to university and thinking about the world and doing nothing with that, and then just going and having a job that the parents had got for them. But now we have working class people who are going to university and learning about literature and music, and now suddenly they're all Mickey Mouse degrees when they were actually the traditional degrees. And I would say, like you said, that people get to go to university, and I think some people say that they went and they didn't get a job and it was a waste of time. And I would say they fundamentally misunderstood what the purpose of university was, is that your degree is just one bit of it, but it's the networking, it's the learning about the world, it's rubbing shoulders with other people, it's being able to grow as a person and contribute something wider to the world.
I think that's an excellent point. And also, to extend this, could you, I mean, yeah, could you learn some of these skills, the networking, the communication, could you learn it outside of the university? Maybe what you're saying is yes, because university is just part of something much bigger. It's a life journey. But yeah, come on, dangerous working class people and others too. Draga, you had your hand up. Are you a dangerous man?
I can be. Yes, everyone.
Thank you for clarifying. Okay,
Yeah, right.
What have you got to say, Draga?
Like the idea is that knowledge gives you like power. You know what to do. You know how to fix things. And my question would be: is there like a cost of knowing something? Is there a limitation? Like, can you know too much? For example, like a very stupid example. Like, for example, should a kid know exactly what a parent does at their job? Or like, is it necessary? Is it not? And maybe then it's also connected to like what Alex writes, like have like the red pill over like the red or the blue pill.
What does that mean? Which one's which? Which can somebody clarify? Draga, can you just explain quickly before I go to Akbao, as I promised? Red pill, blue pill.
Well, I don't know.
What do you
Maybe
recommend?
what I understand out of it is like this matrix related thing, like either you take the red pill, which means you continue living the illusion, or you get the knowledge, like the truth. But maybe I'm wrong.
So this is something kind of, again, linking to what Helena said, live in outrage, take the blue pill and just see what the truth is. But maybe everything that you see is not the real truth. Akbar, thanks, Drage.
So, kind of building on what you said, in Mickey Mouse degrees, I regard like the traditional Oxbridge things like classics and whatnot as Mickey Mouse degrees. If somebody had said, I'm going to university to study the wizarding world of Harry Potter, you'd think that was like this Mickey Mouse degree. But if he said, oh, I'm going to learn about fucking some Zeus turning into a swan and whatnot, that's somehow, oh, goodness me, that's so important and so posh and blah, blah, blah. It's all the same old shit, basically. And now I'm a bit biased. I like science degrees, and I'm not going to say that that arts is terrible, even if it maybe is. But it's the thing is, I don't think that you can say anything's a Mickey Mouse degree really, because it does give you that broader understanding of the world. Now you can learn classics at home reading books, but and chemistry is a little bit more difficult to do at home. Yeah, well, maybe you can learn it on Netflix. Breaking Bad.
Thank you very much. So what can we actually learn for our life lessons from Zeus turning into swan? That's number one question. We are coming to the end of Talkaoke as well. It's last 10 minutes. So I'm going to come to everybody. So this is final thoughts, because I know we're going to need all of this. Okay. Metaphysics, physics, psychology. What's the point, is my question. Helen, I'll come to you. But people, start thinking about your final thoughts. Actually, no, Sophie, you were before. What were you going to say?
I've gone back to re-educate myself after all these years. I go to the local library down in the market with a tutor. I've now passed the first phase. I'm now 3/4 of the way on the second one.
Do you find it useful that you kind of, after so many years, you stepped back into the education?
Yeah, I do. I think it's more better for me now, because I can I'm sort of learning everything that I was taught when I was at school. So because I've not been around all those years, or I've not understood it, because if it doesn't click in quick enough, I thought, well, this might be a better move. And now it's all coming back to me.
Okay, well, I think it's, Brian, I think it's really brilliant and I'd like to applaud you, Sophie, actually, for this, because it's not easy to actually do it in a later age, to go back to education. But as you say, it's time well spent, and it's helping you. So I think that's really, really brilliant. Anything else about final thoughts? We talked about education, we talked about taxing the rich, talked about debt, talked about control, talked about freedom, talked about creative power, and obviously Zeus and a swan, but we don't have to go back there. Talked about education in different countries. I'm going to carry on until somebody raises their hand.
Is it final thought, or is it just thought? Oh, okay, it is final. Okay, so I have so many things to say, but I shall keep it concise. So basically, yes. So firstly, I do not think that literature or art is Mickey Mouse degrees, because no offense, but like
no,
what
I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that actually.
No.
Mickey Mouse courses aren't them kind of courses, really stupid ones.
Christopher, Helena speaks now. If you want to go next, just raise your hand, okay?
Yeah, go on, Helena.
All right. After Helena, you can go. Thanks.
Thank you. Because like what we're doing right now, it's art. Like it's a it like it may not be like Zeus and the Swan or painting a masterpiece, but actually I would disagree because Talkaoke is in many ways well, okay, that's gonna sound a bit wonky, sorry, but it is a masterpiece. But like exactly, I'm not being paid for this, exactly. But like no, but like joke aside, this is creating art in all kinds of various forms, and it is not Mickey Mouse talk. It is not a Mickey Mouse degree. On the contrary, you need literature, you need art, you need theater, you need music, you need Talkaoke too. So sorry, I'll stop. I'll stop. So yeah, so you need that to understand the world in a different way than science could ever give you, because science is very useful, but I think that the two are complementary.
So, art and science give you different perspectives to the world, maybe different to the economic perspective. I must earn money, da da da. Maybe I can just fucking just do something for society, not get paid. I'm not endorsing. I'm just saying there are alternatives, maybe. Okay, Christopher, over to you. Thank you, Helena, for your final thoughts.
I was going to say experience. No, I didn't mean Mickey Mouse courses as in them, but sort of like with me with my Asperger's dyslexia and that. If you think of Einstein, and you think of what's happening with going back to all the other subjects. I've been sidelined where I used to work at Wilco's, and the experience I've got, I've been shoved and kicked, and the doctor really, well, not my feelings, but a genius is somebody who's, if you watch, has got a bloody good idea, bloody good invention, and really knows what's going on in like you did in that play in Boston. Showed what the establishment can do around. So I think that's probably what it is. He's not experiencing what I've been, because the college, I actually, they said I was too expensive and too this and too that. And it comes back with being disabled. I just feel like, what is? So I can't put it all together because my brain is too faster than what is.
But I think you have made a really excellent point, Christopher. And also, thank you for sharing your story, because I think that's what it's all about. I think, we don't want to misjudge people. We've done it today, not deliberately, but I think it's important to kind of say where you're coming from. And I find it, and I'm sorry that you've been told that maybe education is not for you, because your experience is valid and you're bringing a lot to Talkaoke. So thank you so much. And big up Boston, big up Monument Show in Boston. If you were there, you all know. But thank you so much, Christopher. I'm just doing final thoughts. Anybody? Yeah?
I think I saw a quote recently that life is just about options, and that everybody in life just wants the maximum amount of options. And when you think about that in terms of struggling with finances or homelessness or education or any of those things, really, all of us just want to be able to make choices that are the best for ourselves and the best for people around us. So I think on the topic of everything that we've spoken about with politics and with education and all of this, I think that we should all be mindful about the way that we talk about topics, because sometimes we can be talking about things in a wider sense, but actually it starts to become very easy. It's a very slippery slope as to who we're talking about. Who are we saying should stop doing these things? Who are we saying should do less of these things? Who are we saying should be taxed more and not taxed more and things like that? That's my final thought.
Excellent final thought. I half understood it, but I think no, because there's a lot of complexity. It's about how, as you say, it's about how we talk about different subjects. Who are the actual people that we're talking about when we're talking about all these subjects? So thank you. I think it's really brilliant. I hope to see you again at Talkaoke as well, because you're putting in a lot of great stuff, and so is everyone. But I particularly like this thought as well. Charles, final thoughts?
Yes, we are what we feed ourselves. So essentially you need to eat well, and people are getting lazy about that, and people are getting lazy about, with the internet, about reading. And my dad always said, if you don't read, you don't grow up. He read 2 books a week. I read 3 books a year if I'm lucky, for different reasons. So when we've been talking a lot about education, you can learn so much by reading, and we're actually losing our memory and not using our brain in quite the same way. I'm not saying we're not using our brain, but we're not using it in the way that, well, my generation were brought up. And so we're thinking in different ways. So, well, that's really what I'm saying is don't give up reading. I'm lucky that my kids do read whenever they're traveling or wherever. They've always got a book in their pocket. And I suppose that's what I'm trying to say. Just keep reading.
This is like, you know how people say, like, if you're looking for a sign, this is it. I was thinking about precisely this very thing this morning, that reading is important. It's very hard to do it these days, but why? But it does kind of develop you in a different way. So I really big that point up. Thank you, Charles. What are you reading at the moment? What are you not reading at the moment? What would you like to
No, all right. The terrible thing is I've lost the book. It's a book by Eric Van something, written in the 1920s, and it's called the what's it called? The spring. No, the April Spring, I think it's called, and it's just beautifully written. It's like me. It uses lots of adjectives, and it's just about the garden and a romance story. And I just like the way because I'm trying, as you know, trying to write a book myself. So I just like her story.
So if we see this book somewhere, we should get it for you, basically.
I've got it, but
You've got it. Okay.
I don't know where it is.
Okay, you misplaced it. Okay. I hope you find it. Thank you, Charles. We're moving on swiftly with the final thoughts. Alex, and then Drage, and then everyone else. Keep it quick.
Yeah, it's just a point on reading and reading widely, and not just books as well as reading emotions, reading body language, reading tone and tone of voice, just being open to all ways of all sensory input. Yeah.
So read the world in all possible ways. Thank you, Alex. Excellent final thought. Drage?
It's more a question. Like, I was wondering how creative linking would affect our personal lives if we would do it every day, all the time.
Do you have any ideas?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's an exploratory question. Like, what would happen if you would do it all the time?
Well, I think you'll be great. But as it's 9 p.m., we're going to park it for next Talkaoke. Maybe come and see us in Poland, Drage. We can just explore it there. But thank you so much. As a method of creative linking, I don't quite know who's next, but let's just move on, guys.
I just want to say, I think probably the most radical thing that I ever did was to go to art school, especially a radical art school, critical fine art practice at St Martin's. And I'm so angry that is not available. I actually got paid to go and do that, and I think people, I actually got paid to go and just piss around, but in a very creative way. And I think that it's just, it's insulting that people that are also got free education made that something that is just only available to rich people now.
Okay, bring back a free art school for all. Thank you, Mikey.
No, we're going to say one more thing.
No.
But we are doing something about it because we're continually creating creative courses and things for people to do, because I really believe that is the way forward for the world.
Okay, Mikey, definitely you are a dangerous man. 1 second, Lydia, just remember your thoughts. Thank you.
I'm gonna, in the spirit of the woman that was sitting next to me, keep it short. Art should be more funded and should be paid more because it is of public service. I think every artistic production, specifically participative artistic productions like that, should get a bit more recognition because they are of public service. They are creating links for society. And I think we need to make... final thought. And I think going back to the tax the rich point, I think we need to make rich people great again and accountable and decent again, because rich people used to fund the arts back in the days, and they're not creating as much jobs as they used to, because they're mostly focusing on maximizing profits and minimizing and automating the jobs, or giving the jobs to AI or whichever. But it's not, their interest is not so much as for the greater good of society, but for themselves.
We'll be sending the rich to art schools where Mikey went. But thank you so much. It's a really great point. Thank you so much, Lily, and thank you for being here. Kept it quite short. Okay.
As usual, it's been a fantastic show as ever, but there's a lot of topic was interesting, quite of educational background on it as well as political vendetta. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Khosrow. As ever, great to have you. Thank you for making it to Republic tonight. Who hasn't done the final thought?
Sophie, well done on your achievement. And I think lifelong education's absolutely vital, important. Brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. Excellent. I think it's so important. Reading, again, I think vital. Yeah. No, I mean, I generally am thinking like you're reading your book. I've just started a new book. No, I've read all the Harry Potters. No, it's called Going to Tehran. Yeah, it's a really interesting book. It's written by a CIA and State Department person about 13, 14 years ago, and it talks about, well, it tells you a bit about the history of Iran, the political situation. It's a fascinating book and incredibly prescient for today's world.
Reading this book, and maybe next week it could be a book club to encourage everybody, and we can go for 7 hours instead of mere 3 hours. But thank you very much, and lifelong education, big up. Mireille, final thoughts?
I can't speak well, but then I went to art study, and then I'm still studying, and I will be debt. I will not be able to pay back. But then I somehow confident that it's good. But also I think I don't think everyone have to go to university to get a network or freedom for education, because university look like you have to study mathematics or chemical or something. If I don't know, people have to get these things, there must be the subject area for that kind of thing, not mathematics or something. No.
But I mean, can I ask a very quick question to you? Has studying art made you a more kind of aware person, more dangerous person in a way? Has that been good for you?
It helped me to be free, but also if I didn't do that, I didn't know what to do, and maybe I picked up a machine gun and I killed.
I'm really glad you didn't. I'm really glad for your art degree. Thank you so much, Mireille. So guys, watch out. Anyone else hasn't done a final thought? Lech and Elam. Elam, I know you're in bed, so we will let you off if you don't want to do a final thought, but Lech, thank you.
Thank you guys a lot for this whole interaction. Very educating. I feel quite overstimulated with the variety of subjects.
You're not the only one, trust me.
Barely skimmed, but this is the nature of the workshop, right? So thanks a lot, guys. I'm eager to learn more.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining and sticking around for 3 overstimulated hours. And that's it. That's all we've got time for. Khosrow, I'm sorry.
Quick question to Mike. Mike, is West Ham going down?
Is it a race to the bottom between West Ham and Spurs? But anyway, we will continue that conversation another time. Thank you to everybody joining online, and see you next month, 2nd of July, or in Poland, 14th of May. And I want to big up Brian for helping us set up and for doing all the teas and drinks and snacks. And thanks to Scott, he was here a second ago, and Republic for hosting us again. Okay, the end, bye.